Well, it's official. The Bulls are back, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. Just kidding. But we are actually seeing this bounce that everyone's kind of been waiting for, bouncing off of about exactly 80,000 US dollars. 2 days so far of green. Stock market up today, almost 2% on the NASDAQ, actually 3% almost on the NASDAQ, almost a percent on the Dow Jones, about almost 2% on the SPX, and Bitcoin having a little bit of a bounce. Very clear level where I believe we're going to go before we face a rejection or at least, very least, resistance. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. So if you're new to the channel, we do these videos every day unless I don't really want to, but I really want to. I want to so bad. And a lot of things to be getting into. In fact, I want to start off this video with something extremely interesting, I think. Not related to crypto. Actually, you know what? It is. It's related to everything. It's related to everything you've ever done in your life. So many rumors I've been hearing that Trump's about to acknowledge that extraterrestrial life is out there and that humans are not alone. Has anyone been hearing about this? The movie Age of Disclosure just came out a few days ago, which is like the government movie, just where are all these government people saying that aliens are real and they have all this whatever. So kind of crazy. But I guess let me know your thoughts about that. But let's dump into crypto today. So Bitcoin funding rates have turned negative. Those who were longing from 126 to 80K are now shorting. So basically, what does that mean? The losing traders are about to lose again, right? If you were longing from 126 to 80K, you got creamed. Now they're shorting at 80K. Are they about to get creamed? Well, that's what the funding rates are telling us. And that's pretty big. We also see, I want to look at this. Bitcoin therapist. Imagine if you sold here. People love to post engagement porn, or sorry, bear porn of like a big scary red line pointing down. And also, to be fair, people love posting bull porn as well of big green gigantic lines going up. But imagine a scenario like this. And let me actually, we can zoom into this. Imagine Bitcoin trades along the bottom of this channel that it's been since basically 2019 and ends up breaking out, going to $1 million per coin over the next 2 years. Imagine the bear market that everybody's convinced is here for the next 2 years, at least, has begun, right? Everyone thinks that, or at least a lot of people think that. Because again, if you're going by the 4-year cycles, that is objectively what it is telling us has to happen now. I just am a firm believer that I think the 4-year cycles are wrong. I'll just say it. I'll just actually come right out and say it. I think the 4-year cycles are wrong. I don't think it was ever the 4-year cycles. I think it was the liquidity cycles, the business cycle, and they just happened to be lined up perfectly with the 4-year halvings, or the halving cycle, 4-year Bitcoin cycle, and I think that can change. I think that the incoming supply, the issuance of supply of Bitcoin is so low at this point compared to the incoming demand that we're going to see that I don't think it really will matter that much. And I think we'll see a true S-curve of pumpiness. We have as well filled the Bitcoin CME gap. So people were concerned about that had formed over the weekend. Well, it's already filled. So I guess you could say continue the bounce, initiate bounce continuation. Bitcoin has hit the bottom according to Artazor. The RSI is oversold like it was in 2022. He's saying this was the final bear trap. What do you think about that? I don't have a strong opinion on that. I don't have I'm just kind of bringing this topic up. But as I've been saying, if we do get a bounce here, I think we're going to get rejected at 100K or at least face a lot of resistance there, but has yet to be seen. A lot of people are boycotting JP Morgan because they're trying to basically destroy Michael Saylor, right? Shorting MicroStrategy, dumping Bitcoin to liquidate Saylor and try to make a lot of profit. So this is the name of the game though. Ever since Bitcoin was introduced to Wall Street, ever since the Bitcoin spot ETFs were approved, we knew, and if we didn't, now you know that this was part of the game, right? Manipulation, inside trading, all this is what's always happened. And now the big boys are here to try to continue to do that. And Michael Saylor is the #1 target in their scopes. He's the biggest single Bitcoin holder that's on social media. So he is a very clear target as well. The market always chooses the dumbest outcome, according to Rect on X. If Bitcoin does this, we 100% live in a simulation. What would this be? Well, just a continuation, similar dump we saw in 2021, or sorry, in 2022 into 2023. Before then, heading up higher into, according to this would be basically the most dumpy possibility. Now, the top comment actually says here too, not shown at log scale is useless. I agree. This is not log, and like if you don't use a logarithmic, it's like not really easy. I don't agree with this, but I'm just showing it. I like to show bullish and bearish ideas, and this is a bearish one. Means basically we would not hit a new all-time highs until 2028, which I think is honestly ridiculous. And honestly, he uses the word dumbest here. I think it's quite literally the dumbest chart that I've seen. It's possible. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I just think it's the dumbest option that I've seen so far. And yeah, want to throw out the dumb options as well. BYBIT is now the most oversold that has been since launch, and it's just seen its largest ever daily volume, which is an indication of panic selling, meeting institutional demand extremely big. And we also see altcoins potentially getting some life here. We see that these higher lows have been forming on this chart, the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, so the total 2 chart, and a higher low being formed. Next would be a higher high. So maybe altcoins actually maybe getting some life in here. If we look at Bitcoin dominance, 3 weeks in a row that we've had Bitcoin dominance sliding actually. So another potential indication that, yeah, it's possible maybe alts have a little bit of life here. Are alts about to enter alt season? No, that's not what I'm saying. But maybe just a capital rotation into alts. And there's a decent amount of evidence to suggest that. Deja vu all over again, according to Crypto Bullet as well. This is yet another bearish chart hitting off the top of this channel, or sorry, the bottom of this channel, maybe bouncing up to about 115,000 or so, before then entering absolute dump mode back down to maybe the 50s, even 40s, according to this chart. Now, again, I don't think that is a very likely scenario, but it is an important one to watch. We see if we look at a daily chart for Bitcoin as well, we're about to get a bullish cross on the MACD. We did just get a bullish crossover on the RSI on the daily chart. Obviously, a bounce is happening. We're in the middle of a bounce. We can look up to the 50-day moving average right around 96,000. Or sorry, this is the 21-day moving average, right at about 96,000, up to that 100,000 range. I think we're going to bounce to. So I think over the next week, we very likely could see Bitcoin do something like this. Maybe not straight up, maybe some sideways as well. But ultimately, I think, obviously, as we've seen the markets be as oversold as they have been in years, we only get this level of being oversold a couple of times every couple of years. Usually, actually, we only get this signal maybe like once, maybe twice per year. So the fact that we just got this massive signal, you know, we might not get this level of oversoldness again for another year. It's possible. So what does that mean? Yeah, it just means that, of course, there's going to be a bounce. That doesn't mean the bounce is going to bounce us into a new bull market, but of course, there should be a strong bounce. Myself and everyone was saying this just a couple of days ago when we were bouncing off of 80K and we had this big wick. Now we're up to 88K, so we're up, I mean, from the lows so far, we're up about like 10%. I think it could easily go into total up to about maybe 20% of a bounce, if not higher. But I mean, that gets into the territory of getting above the 21-day moving average and also above 100K, which you have to think at this point, 100K is probably going to be decent resistance, you would think, right? Maybe not, but it is where a lot of support and resistance has been around, especially if you go right in between that, right about like 96 to 97K, right before you get to 100K. There's a lot of accumulated volume there. When we're below this, it becomes resistance. If we're above it, it theoretically should be support. But if we're being honest as well, with all the liquidations we've seen, we kind of just slice through the 95, even 100K support pretty quick. So, you know, maybe it's not as big as an impediment as people might be expecting, because it did not hold its support at all. But with stocks doing well today, the US dollar as well, actually, well, pretty flat for the day. How is gold doing? It is not doing much. It's up almost 1% today, but pretty much we're in a very clear dead cat bounce, I believe, on gold, or at least a consolidation pattern, maybe some sort of even triangle if this plays out over time more, right? Maybe a symmetrical triangle. Hey, you know, maybe gold might start pumping the first couple weeks of December, actually. Maybe Bitcoin will follow it. maybe there will be a flight to gold and in effect as well, digital gold. Maybe. We'll see. But overall, yeah, we're just getting the bounce that everyone's expecting. Let me know your thoughts on aliens as well. Very interesting, I think. But yeah, absolutely. Get signed up with FEMX or BITUNIX below if you want to buy Bitcoin, altcoins, or trade. Clearly, this is a discount. Clearly, we're in the most oversold conditions we've seen in a long time. So what does that mean? Its translation for that is, wow, this was a buying opportunity. Doesn't mean that we're just going to go straight up from here, but if you buy on these dips, it's way more lucrative to do so than buying on every pump. This is objectively a smarter time to buy than when Bitcoin was at 125K. Even if Bitcoin goes to $1 million in the next couple of years, buying when it goes a little lower, why is that better? Because you can get a little more of it, right? Goes without saying. Yeah, without any further ado,